English is good, right? With the permission of the Rebbitzin, first of all, this event is beautiful. It's a beautiful event. I want to thank anybody who arranged this event. Absolutely beautiful event. The purpose of today's class is going to how to better our relationships. How can we get better relationships? You can have all the money in the world. If you don't have good relationships, you have nothing. The relationships today, you can have a beautiful mansion, you have no shalom bayit, it's nothing. It's nothing. You have a beautiful family, nobody gets along, nobody wants to see each other. So the purpose of today's class, I'm going to give you two books. I myself have a podcast, I've been doing this for 8 years, and there's 2 books that have drastically changed many women's lives. The first book is going to be called Tomer Devorah, and the second book is called Letting Go. Men and women have different problems. Let's be honest. Men and women have different problems. The game of life is to be free. The game of life is not to look for validation. I think it's the Spanish line, La alma siga. Oh, no, forget that. It doesn't work. I tried. The soul seeks freedom, the ego seeks validation. El alma, the soul seeks libertad. La alma siga libertad. El ego siga valición. Valición, something like that. There goes my Spanish career. Exactly. The purpose of today is I'm going to give you 2 books, 2 tools to change your marriage and to change your life. The book, there's a rabbi called the Divrei of Sons that says one who studies the 13 attributes of mercy gets, God forbid, he's saved from cancer. Saved from cancer. It's unheard of a rabbi saying that if a person who learns the 13 attributes of mercy, he will be saved from cancer. We know today, God forbid, cancer is very connected to suppressed emotions. We know what suppressed emotions are doing to people today, and we know the benefits of letting go. Reb Nachman begins by telling us that the world is full of strife. That means everybody's going to go through some kind of issue in life. The world is full of strife. All strife is identical. Each person in their household is considered like they have a country in their house. One person has an Iran in their house, one person has a Morocco, one's a Cold War, one's a hot war. The bottom line is, as much as we want peace, it's not practical to have permanent peace. They say today, anybody that has more than 2 people in a family, it's called dysfunctional family. So the bottom line is we're all going to have, don't expect because you're having arguments or you're having fights with people that something is wrong with you. It's going to happen to everybody. Sometimes we think that having problems is a problem. But I want to give you a different perspective today on how to deal with this. So Reb Nachman tells us, you may wish to live in peace. You have no desire for strife, but as much as you want to make peace, just like as much as Israel wants to make peace, it's not going to permanently happen, only when Mashiach comes. But what Reb Nachman says is if you're married, the war will be with your members of your household. If you're single, the war will be in your head. But you will be at some kind of war. The advice here is to not stay there and let it go. So many times what's happening today, you could see that many people would say, my husband destroyed my life. My neighbor got me angry. This person insulted me. Okay, so I'm going to teach you today, it's not possible for somebody to insult you unless you have that energy yourself. Our job is to get to a point where we improve our relationships by understanding people, not judging them. Our job today, our job in our life, through prayer, through meditation, is to come to understand our husbands, understand our mother-in-laws, instead of always judge them. What we need to do today is we need to get to a point where we become like God. If we look at the parsha this week, God reveals to us, after the Jews sinned with the golden calf, they revealed to us the 13 attributes of mercy. The 13 attributes of mercy is basically God gives us an opportunity to emulate Him by forgiving other people. Just like there's poor people in the world, God gives you an opportunity to give poor people money to help yourself. There's opportunities in the world that God gives us difficult people in our lives, so when we forgive them, God forgives us. That's the basis of everything. The worst thing that we could do in life is blame the messenger and not focus on the message. This is where we get stuck in life, where we don't focus on the message and we shoot the messenger. No human being can destroy your life unless you let them to do it. I own addiction centers. Healing will only come when you start letting go and letting God. Before we get into the 13 attributes of mercy, we need to also understand another principle. That the more we hold on to things, that becomes our personality. You understand? All of a sudden, for example, I always had this story. Let's say I had an argument with my wife one day, and next thing you know, I have negative energy. I go to work, my secretary will show up, and what am I going to tell her? Why are you always late? You think you own the company? So basically, I took my negativity and I dumped it on her. All of a sudden, her husband's going to call her and say, honey, do you want to go to lunch? What is she going to say? If you made enough money, I wouldn't work here anymore. All he asked her is to go to lunch. The son is going to call his father and say, hey, Dad, can we go play basketball? Don't you have any friends? Don't you have any friends? And basically, the son is going to throw the basketball at the dog, and the dog is going to bite the cat. Okay? That is called displacement of energy. So what happens in our life? We fall somewhere in between. We fall somewhere where we're getting other people's negative energy and we're taking it personal. And what happens is when you do that, what do you think you're going to do? You're going to dump it on your kids. Or you're going to dump it on your husband. Even though it's not their fault. So this is why we need a system. Instead of letting things get worse and worse and worse, we need to find a way to let it go. Because when you let it go, you bear the insult. What happens? You forgive them, God forgives you. So difficult people in our lives are a chance for us to give God mercy. Otherwise, you're walking around with very low energy, and you're walking around like a victim. You're walking around with a victim. What's the problem with a victim mindset? You're emotionally tied to the person all day long. When you're a victim, you are emotionally tied to the person. So when you're telling me I'm mad at them, they're controlling how you wake up. They're controlling everything about you. And our job is to find a way to let it go and forgive them using the 13 attributes of mercy. I've seen miracles. If I tell you, listen, I'm doing this podcast already 8 years. I've seen people in horrendous marriages, horrendous divorce, horrendous situations. And I said, listen, right away, I need you to forgive somebody you really can't stand because you need mercy. Right now, you're sick, you're angry, nothing's going well, every relationship is turned to the worst condition. You need mercy. You need God to give you mercy. So when you forgive people that are very, very difficult, to the extent that you forgive them, God gives you that mercy. God gives you the mercy. So remember, if we don't let go, then that becomes our reality. If we're walking around with anger, then all it takes is somebody to come, give you the wrong message, and you say, they got me angry. No. You had anger, they just triggered it. Our job is to live like the divine. God gives us an opportunity every single day to forgive people. That is an opportunity. Just like charity is an opportunity, it's an opportunity to them. But you cannot let go if you focus on the messenger. You have to focus on the message. Focus on what opportunity to let go. I've done this where I've let go of things that people have done, and I saw miracles in my life. Miracles in my life. I saw people have sicknesses that go away through miracles. The Divrei of Sense says. So the practical lesson is you have to recognize who's bothering you in your life, who's bothering you, what conflicts you have. Because remember, women are more into validation and honor than men. Men have a different issue completely. But women hold on to things, again, based on my experience. Don't shoot the messenger. I like to talk straight. I'm not here to, we don't come to Mexico every other day. But your energy level and your level of healing will come when you start letting go more. I promise you. Your relationships with your husband. If you look at what's the problem in today's society? Men, the reverse roles. Reverse roles. Sometimes women don't forgive men. Even though the man's trying to become the giver again, they don't let them in. They don't let them in. And what happens is you have to develop energy of receiving. The way you do this is you have to recognize very simple. You cannot, there's another principle. Why we can't take things personal is very simple. Because hurt people hurt others. Just like I said about this example about the dog and the cat and the this and the this. People hurt you because they're hurt. And the worst thing we could do is punish ourselves because somebody hurt you. Imagine somebody comes into your house, hits your car, and now you take your car and you drive it off the highway and you crash it. The worst thing you can do is hurt yourself because somebody else hurt you. And how do you hurt yourself? By taking it personal. When you let it go, you're free. That means the game of life is to be free. Some of us have issues with family members, but the real issue is we're not understanding them enough. If you understand that people only treat you the way they treat you is because they feel like that, you won't take it so personal. And your life will change. You know why? Because right now, when you take things personal, look at your energy level. Look at your energy level. Look how you feel. Look what it's doing to your body. Look what it's doing to your immune system. Look what it's doing to your marriage. Look what it's doing to it. So forgiveness gives you the ability to get your energy back. Gives you the ability to get your energy back. That is the most important thing. And this is why this book, Tomer Devorah, which is exactly this parsha, it's emulating God. How do we emulate God? For example, we walk around, we have a beautiful life, something happens, we're ungrateful. You're sort of insulting God. When you're ungrateful, you're sort of insulting God. Right? So what happens? Somebody comes to your life and insults you. If you let it go and you forgive them, and you don't take it personal, then God forgives you. Basically, every single opportunity of problematic people is an opportunity for you to get mercy. Just the same way as there's an opportunity for me to get mercy when I give charity, I know it's not I'm helping the guy, it's the guy helping me. It's the guy helping me. Anybody who's smart will tell you that the giver, the receiver is helping the giver more than the giver is helping the receiver. But if you look like, oh my God, look at these charity people, they're bothering me. No. Problematic people in your life are there to help you. They're there for you to rise above where you could become. Remember, the game of life is not validation. It's freedom. You have to ask yourself, what is the price of freedom? What is the price of freedom? How would you like to wake up in the morning and not be upset about your husband, what he did to you 3 years ago? What is he doing for you? Or forgive them and give them a second chance. That is the 13 attributes of mercy. That God is constantly forgiving us. Even the Jews, when they served the golden calf, how did they were forgiven? They were forgiven, and because they judged themselves favorably, they got the Mishkan. So Reb Nachman tells us that the worst thing we could do is that when we're not seeing the good in people, is we're not seeing the godliness in them. I'm not telling you that this is easy. I deal with Moroccans, I deal with all kinds of people in my life. It's not easy to do this, but if you look at the bigger purpose, that every single challenge in our lives is a challenge to rise above. You don't want to be the divorced woman trying to get married again and telling the new guy all the worst things about your ex. Because you know what's going to happen? He's going to say, I'm going to be the next guy. I'll be the next yo-yo. You don't want to show up to dates. You don't want to show up to things with negative energy because there's no room for a new person. People want to be happy with people that are happy. People don't want to be around people that are trauma bonding all day long. So I own addiction centers. You don't have to be in therapy for 20 years to figure out why something happens. Sometimes you just have to let it go. Emunah is letting it go. Everything's for the best. Otherwise, you become institutionalized to therapist all day long. Therapist will get you to what you need to do. God will heal you. The therapist can, that's why some people are in therapy for 20 years. It's not too long. The therapist pinpoint the issue. You need to get to the next level. Do you understand? But people in our lives are there, they're there just to show you. It's always the way it works out in life, is the problem always becomes the solution. Do you understand? The problem becomes the solution. Let's say, for example, I'm insulted. I got insulted, and I took it really bad. Correct? What is God teaching me? You need to work on your self-esteem. Why are you taking things so personal? It's not the person who insulted you, it's why are you so affected by the comment? Why are you so affected by the comment? That's teaching you there's areas in your life that have not healed. There's areas in your life that need to be healed, maybe from your childhood. Like David Lieberman says, it's never too late to have a happy childhood. And you need to find a way to heal. But most of us, we're walking around with a lot of scars, and people just come and poke the scar, and they say, look, you hurt me. So it's extremely important to understand this concept. The way we let go is we cannot focus on who did it. We have to focus on what happens. We have to focus more on what needs to be released. If it's an insult, either it's an opportunity to say, maybe I insulted Hashem. This is a cleansing. Or it could be self-esteem issues that have not been worked out, that need to be worked out. So every single opportunity is really an opportunity to really heal. We don't want to get stuck on the messenger. We don't want to get stuck on the situation, because when you get stuck on the messenger, all you're doing is replaying the movie over and over again. If you think about something in life, what is the difference between having a memory and having wisdom? Joe Dispenza says, wisdom is the memory without the emotion. Wisdom is the memory, is going through the experience, but there's no negative emotion to it. So that means, think about areas where you've gone through with people, you forgave them, you no longer replay the movie over and over again, you have wisdom now. They're no longer affecting you. Our job is to take all of these relationships and elevate them to wisdom. Is to elevate them to wisdom. And this will free you. This will give you back your energy. This will give you back your energy. Just like some of the 13 attributes of mercy are. God, He bears sins. He also cleans up the mess for you. He cleans up the mess constantly. God throws away your sins. He doesn't hold resentment. Think about today, how much resentment we're holding towards people. Think about it. What does resentment do? What is resentment practically today? Frozen anger. Frozen anger. Resentment is frozen anger. Our sages tell us that anger is a form of idol worshiping. What do you mean it's a form of idol worship? Because you're thinking that a person, anytime I say, this person destroyed my business, that is idol worshiping. That person took away my this, idol worshiping. A person cannot do it. It's all coming from God. But when you think it's you, that person, you lose the whole concept. You can never heal because you need emunah to heal. And emunah is the belief that everything comes from God. It's extremely important. Now remember, forgiving somebody and letting go is not something I could call Amazon Alexa and say, hey, can you let go of that person? You need to pray for it. Because you forgive not from your mind, you forgive from your heart. We don't forgive from our mind, because if we were thinking about from our mind, we would go crazy. You forgive from your heart. Remember that the word forgiving is giving. I'm giving. Forgetting is you're getting. Right? What else do you get? You got to get. Do you get me? Forgiving. It's bigger than forgetting. It's forgiving. You have to forgive your husbands. Number one, I'm here to stand up for all the husbands. But there's so many cases where you see a beautiful marriage, 7, 9, 8, 10 good years, a couple incidents that happen, and the marriage is down to that incident the whole time. You have to look at the big picture. You cannot look at the isolated events. John Goodman wrote that what is the key to having happy marriages is if you could see 80% good versus 20% bad in a person. That means, can you honestly look at your relationships and see 80% good in your partner versus 20% bad? Those last. So if I just say to you right now, seeing good, the word good is godly. If I see good in somebody, it's because I see godliness in them. Do you understand? If I don't see good in them, I could be seeing my own reflection or my own ego or my own insecurities, but I'm not seeing the godliness. There's also a guarantee in life that when you criticize yourself too much, where do you think it's going to go? To other people. Women have the power to heal. Women have the power to change this generation. Women have the power, through 10 measures of speech came to the world. Women have 9 of them. You have a power with the right words to elevate your husband or to destroy him too. I'm going to be frankly honest. You have the power with your words. Don't think you have so much power that a woman can elevate her husband with kind words. With kind words. And again, even if we have to reprimand, it's look at the way you say it. You got to change these little things. Because let me explain to you, men are very simple. We are so simple, it's ridiculously simple. Let me explain to you an analogy. Men, all they want to do is practically, they want to get reassurance. They want to practically score in life. If you tell your husband, you did this nice thing for me, what he's going to do, he's going to go out of his way, because you complimented him, to go another nice thing for you. Do you understand? If you think about this practically, when do people leave a game in life? When do people leave a game in life? When they have no chance to win. When do you leave a marriage? When do you leave a soccer game? When do you leave when you have no chance to win? So if a person's doing so much and everything he's doing, he's getting criticized, he says, I'm going to stop trying. I'm not even going to do it anymore. What you guys have to do is when you give nice things and you appreciate your husband, he's going to go out of his way to do something else for you. So that means we can get much more out of our husbands through kindness than through criticism. I guarantee it. Believe me, I've done this enough to guarantee it. I've told people, told women, yes, the husband's done this, but I told them right now, you need to pick him up right now. You pick him up, he's going to do this. You don't even need to tell him anything. Why? Why can you do that? It's not because you're letting, it's because you could see the good in him. Because sometimes women have to see the good in them. And that will multiple. And that's your power. But you cannot do this unless we work on stopping to taking things personal. If you make everything, remember, humility is the greatest attribute. Humility is not to think less of yourself, it's to think of yourself less. Do you understand? Humility doesn't mean to sit like this and stay away from the world. It's to not make everything about you. Think about some friends that we have. They call you, you don't want to pick up the phone. Why? Because they're needy. They're always making, everything's a problem. It's opposite of humility. Where other people, where they want to give, you're running to pick up the phone. So this is where today we really have to work on this, because I'm telling you right now, the quality of your life is your quality of your relationships. Your quality of your health is your quality of your relationships. If God has to forgive the Jews after the golden calf and tells them, just follow my 13 attributes, and these are my attributes. That means if you want to imitate God today, how do I imitate God? I imitate God by forgiving others, by not holding resentment, by remembering the good times we had. That's how we imitate God. And when we imitate God, we draw his energy. We draw his energy. Otherwise, what happens? We get stuck in life, in therapy forever. We blame the messenger all day long. We end up with trauma. We're on 25 anti-anxiety pills. That's the other option of not letting go. The other option of being tough and not letting go and saying, I want to be right, it's going to happen. You're going to end up on, God forbid, antidepressants, anxiety medication. So there's no good ending of not forgiving. How many people have, God forbid, have gotten cancer, they came out and they recognize, what, is this worth it? Is this worth it? That's why this book is against suppressed emotions. Well, this book, Tomer Devorah, is basically telling you to let go of any suppressed emotions. Don't let it go. If it's a person that did it to you, give them the benefit of the doubt. If it's somebody you haven't made friends with 5 years ago, forgive them. Why? Very simple. Number one, hurt people hurt others. They're not in a good position. You know, it's funny, I own a treatment center, and you have people with heroin addictions, real issues, that they need so much mercy. They don't have a job, they have an active addiction, and you ask them, you think you could forgive? And they're there because of pain. Somebody hurt them, somebody abandoned them. And you ask them, can you forgive that person? They're like, no, I'm not going to forgive them. I said, let me ask you a question. How many times have you relapsed? 3 times. I said, you came back from the dead almost. A relapse is almost a situation where a person could relapse. You never know if you're going to make it. Basically, God resurrected that person 3 times. God showed that person mercy. Now you're not going to show mercy to others? So if we look practically in our lives and we see the abundant kindness and good that God has done for us, and how you have been forgiven, and how you have been given mercy, the best way to do this is to pay it back to people. It doesn't have to make sense. The ego is rational. The soul is merciful. And how do you know what you need to do in life? I'll tell you the way. It's resistance. It's resistance. Resistance is the Yetzer Hara's mechanism to tell you not to do it. If I tell you go right now, go forgive that person, go forgive your mother-in-law, you're almost going to be sick doing it. It's not going to be easy to do this. Why? Because anything that you have resistance in life is telling you what you need to do. You don't have resistance eating a taco, okay? You have resistance forgiving people. We have resistance praying. We have resistance judging favorably sometimes. Resistance is the name of the game. You have to say, I have to plow through this resistance. It's going to hurt, but what happens is when you get through that resistance, what do you think forgiveness is going to do for you? It's going to make you get 15 to 20% more of your energy. It's going to give you 20% of your energy back because you just let go of something. All of these, the whole point of all of this, of all of these things, is to get more energy. Don't you guys want happiness? I'm sure you're here to hear speakers to give you happiness, right? Right? Where does it go? You're here to have happiness, correct? How do you think you're going to get happiness? You have to think about the things that are making you sick. You have to think about the things that are making you sick. What do you think? Happiness is just jumping in the sky and just pretending nothing? You have to transform the pain. Happiness is not just sitting there and hearing a good speech and it's how do I get back my energy? How do I go in my life and get back my energy that I gave it away so much? How do I become a human being? See, that's why it's very important that religion without emunah, it's not going to get you anywhere. Religion without spirituality will get you nowhere. Without emunah and spirituality, just religion doesn't mean you're going to have a happy smile on your face. Spirituality, emunah, allows you to say everything's for the best. I'm forgiving that person, number one, because I'm going to judge them favorably. I'm going to forgive that person because I have been forgiven myself many times. I'm forgiving that person because that's what God does. How many times on Yom Kippur do we say, Hashem, Hashem, El, Rachum, V'chanun? How many times do you say it on Yom Kippur? 26 times. We say it all day long. What are you doing before Yom Kippur? You're forgiving people. What are you doing on the highest day of the year? You're tapping into God's 13 attributes of mercy, and you're asking people to forgive you. Think about that. Why can't I do this during the regular year? Why do I have to wait till Yom Kippur? Why? In the Breslov circles, Reb Nachman, they would be called vidunikers. They would always make sure to settle the accounts with people, because if you settle the accounts with people, automatically the accounts in heaven, you're going to be settled. But if you want to have a relationship with God and have a horrible relationship with people, what do you think it's going to do for you? It doesn't matter how religious you are. The bottom line is, our job here is to emulate our Creator by giving people the benefit of the doubt, by being humble, not taking things so personal, by understanding people, to recognize they're going through a tough time right now. It doesn't mean what they went through is about me. Because if you look at all studies will show you one thing. When you become self-centered, that is going to take your happiness away from you. That is going to be taking away your happiness from you. Is the self-centeredness. But when we align with our Creator, and these are two books that I recommend for everybody. One is Tomer Devorah, and the second one in Spanish is Desloir. Dejar lo ir. Those are the two books. It's in Spanish, by the way. It's in Spanish, it's a must. This is how my copy looks like. This is how much I have to use it. This is how my copy used like. It doesn't mean because you let go one time, it's a one-time event. It's a daily event of letting go. Guys, letting go is a daily event. And I want you, and this is why when we say Shema at night isn't the ultimate letting go? Isn't Shema at night the ultimate letting go? So if you're suffering from, God forbid, sadness, sickness, etc., anything, if you want better relationships, tell your husband, let's start over. I forgive you, you forgive me, and you will see what those magic words can change. Because everybody's fighting about the same things over and over and over again. You have the power. Maybe your husbands don't have the power. Maybe they didn't listen to this class. But you have the power to change everything. And I promise you, when we have good relationships, our kids see that. It's not just me and my husband, it's your kids. It's everything. The whole world sees it. You could save a lot of money on facelifts. You have so much energy. Save money on Botox. You have energy. You won't be controlled by people anymore. Take these 2 books to heart, read them, then read them again. And try to think of people that your energy is affected by them, and start working on this. Again, I'm just giving you the seeds on how to be happy. I'm giving you the seeds on how to be happy, but the work you have to do. The work you have to do. You have to ask God, God, please remove hatred from my heart. Remove negative judgment from my heart. Think about this, guys. Look what's going on in Israel. Talk about the need for mercy that we need today. Talk about before October 7th, how much fighting and how much disaster happened in Israel. Talk about the power of unity. Don't think that this situation affects you. Forgive your household, you start changing the energy. May Hashem bless you all. We should all forgive from our hearts and change our relationships. Amen.